sort of a 3-layer approach, really, that the consistency built is the foundation, absolutely the foundation of most things, but certainly of running. So let's get the consistency from myself. Then it builds a confidence, because I'm confident about showing up. It's self-trust, self-love. I know I'm going to show up every day. And then that confidence builds a strong mindset.
Today we're going to tackle that big topic. Why it is that some people take a break from alcohol and then find the need, the urge to start moving their body, which often leads to elite level performance in different domains of their life, from running to swimming to high rocks, whatever it is for you. We see it continually. People take a break and they change their body. What a gift. And today's guest, who I'm going to converse with, the brilliant Claire MacAskill, is such a wonderful example of that. And now she is a shining light, a beacon to others on their alcohol-free adventure of the incredible gains of moving your body. You're going to love this one. And before we get in there, just a reminder, this episode is brought to you by the CoachBusiness.school, where I personally train the next wave of elite level executive coaches, life coaches, and alcohol-free performance coaches. And if you're already a coach, I also train our coaches in how to create the coaching business of their dreams. All right, let's get into today's conversation. So, Claire, welcome to the Shomra.
It's amazing,
isn't it? It's my like Aladdin's cave.
It's a delight to be here, to see where it all happens. Look at this. I'm here.
I know, from bookshelves to the blackboard over there, which people can't see if they're watching this on YouTube.
Yeah.
But this is my little space. It's cool, isn't it?
It's actually a really relaxing space. So you've created something wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm, again, thrilled and honoured you're joining me today. This experience of conversing and connecting in person, I'm getting so much joy from, in a way that I hadn't really appreciated before. Mm-hmm. Just having real conversations with real people, predominantly about my favourite topic in the world, which is being alcohol-free and going on those adventures, of which that's a huge part of your story and many of the incredible things that you've done more recently. So let's dive into that part of your adventure. What brought you to this alcohol-free adventure?
My gosh. So we're talking 7 years ago in January in 2019. I stopped drinking. But
7 years.
7 years. 2019.
That's right, because I know we picked up on that the other day. That means that there's not a cell in your body.
I know.
I love this quote, don't I? Apparently, and I think there's a lot of truth in it, that every cell in your body regenerates every 7 years. So your body has never, ever known alcohol.
Ta-da.
How cool is that?
I love that. I do love that fact. It's I actually wonder, as most people probably do, why didn't I do this years ago? Because it's just been so transformational for me. 2019 was, just the start, and that was down to you, following you, and 1 year no beer was a big part of that to start with. But really being on, I call it the Andy Ramage train.
Andy Ramage train.
I call it the train. Yeah.
All aboard. A lot of people want to get off.
It's true. I say I've been on the Andy Ramage train since 2019, even probably a little bit before. But really, I stopped drinking in January the 19th. And then you started, I can't remember what it was called, but one of your many wonderful
self-development programs. Probably the Office Athlete or the Full Potential Plan, or one of those.
I've done them all. I've done them all. So I joined that in the might have been the May, June, and it was at that point that I knew that I didn't want to drink. I've done many stints of not drinking.
What had brought you to that point though, to think that? What was going on?
So I kind of recognise, probably, if I'm real honest with myself, probably from around the 2012 mark, that, that middle lane drinker definitely of weekends having that little bit too much, and maybe on holidays just going a bit overboard, coming back and needing a holiday.
To get over the holiday.
And actually just that ongoing cycle of, I could do days without drinking. It wasn't, but then come the weekend or whatever, holiday celebration, commiseration, we celebrate and commiserate with alcohol. And so socially, I didn't have the skills to know what to do with that. So I think from about 2012, interestingly, I had a holiday to New York in 2012 for New Year, and it was one of the it was full on, as New York City is, right? So we had a really big adventure over New Year, and I remember coming back from that trip thinking I need a few days to get over that. And interestingly, I've just come back from New York City. So,
and what was you doing in New York City?
I was running the marathon. So how many years later? 13 years later.
13 years later. And what time did you do it in?
I did 3:23:59.
So just say that again, 3:23:59. That is insane. And if you don't mind me asking, and so people know listening,
I don't mind.
How old are you now?
I'm 51.
51. That is so cool.
Yes, I know. I'm delighted. And I say this, I've got fitter and faster and stronger. I'm fitter and faster and stronger in my 50s and late 40s than in my 20s and 30s, without a shadow of a doubt. No, and that's because I've stopped drinking, because it has a snowball effect on everything else. It has, the nutrition, the sleep, the heart rate, all those beautiful things. I recover quicker. I eat better. So interestingly, I was in New York and I've just come back, so slightly jet lagged, but I'm okay. And I don't need another holiday to get over that one. This is the beautiful thing. I did it obviously without drinking, but I was running the marathon, and it's just such an amazing, it's quite emotional, because it's been the lovely J word. It's been a journey to get to New York, but in the last 3 years, I also ran Chicago in 2023, Sydney last year, and then New York as part of the Age World Championships. So for my age and for my gender, I'm not bad at marathon running.
Yeah, you're pretty quick.
So I've been invited to, and my qualification times allow me to go and do these races with a bunch of like-minded people that are all invited because they're pretty good at what they're doing at their age too. And to be within that tribe, I call it my tribe. That's my new pub. That's where I want to hang out. That's who I want to be with. At the start of a marathon, when the helicopters are going over and they're belting out Frank Sinatra, New York, New York, that's where I belong. That's literally where I want to spend my Sunday morning,
Yeah, and what is so beautiful about that is that life could have been so different
100%.
if alcohol was still in your world. And continually I run up against this and look at that sliding doors of so many people's lives where alcohol is just ubiquitous, because it sort of is in our society and in middle age. And then those decisions that might feel like small ones compound over time to lead to two completely different lives. Mm-hmm. That life of you arriving and listening to Frank Sinatra and being filled with joy, your new pub, that emotion of being so fit, in your 50s now, smashing all these records, traveling the world, doing what you love, thriving, could have been so different had you not woken up to the fact that actually, removing alcohol is this gateway to your optimal self.
Yeah, it was just, it really is a bit of the sliding door moments. But, I have been on that, when you asked me, it was around that 2012 mark that I realised, but it took me another, 7 years to really say, this is not doing me any good. Even this odd few 1 or 2 drinks a week is not doing my body, my mind, doesn't fill me with joy. Why would I do this to myself? And, the key for me was that I started getting more serious, and I work with a coach for my running. So I started working with him in 2017. And so I was hardly drinking, but I was still seeing that effect. I was still seeing the jadedness, maybe with one drink, the lack of recovery because sleep is our greatest recovery, maybe the poorer nutritional choices. And then so I was like, why am I doing this? I just want, and for me, my running career is all about how good can I possibly be in this one short precious life. That's for me. I am competitive, but I'm competitive mostly against myself. And so the realisation really of from 2017 to actually giving up in 2019, I was just like, this has to happen, because these 1 or 2 drinks, and this is what people don't realise who I work with maybe, the ones that are having 1 or 2 drinks, the heart rate spikes, so your recovery is less. Again, going back to the bad nutritional or poorer nutritional choices, it all impacts and it snowballs. So I just removed it. I was just, right, I'm on this Andy Ramage train. He's speaking sense.
Yeah.
I'm going for it.
I know,
it.
and it's and let's talk about this, right? The sort of knock-on snowball consequences, for example, to heart rate, which is such a big thing that I think people are becoming much more aware of now because of our tech.
Yes.
They can see it. But we got onto this many years ago, around the same time, with a guy called Christian Daly, who's brilliant, was my sort of PT personal trainer, but would do a similar thing. He was very much aware of heart rate, would track heart rate, would see many of his clients come in, they'd have a few drinks, and would see these huge moves in resting heart rate of 20 beats, for example. Like my resting heart rate is 40.
Yeah.
So that would be like a 50% increase in my base rate. And then my way of when I was drinking would be to sweat it out.
Yes.
I didn't want it in my body.
Yes.
But you can imagine if my resting heart rate is already elevated by 50%, which is like nuts when you think about it, and then I go and do some wallop of a spin class or some HIIT session to try and sweat it out, I think that's why you see a lot of people fall over in terms of heart attacks and whatnot, because they just can't manage that load. And I would argue a lot of people fall into that trap. There's no comprehension what alcohol is actually doing to them in terms of a physiological level. Even a few drinks is causing this huge impact.
Oh, absolutely. And I do see it in the people that I coach that do have these one or two drinks. Most of the people I coach probably don't drink, but there are a few that maybe have a couple, and I can see it in the stats straight away. And
there's no hiding from it, is there?
There's no hiding.
Claire, did you ever drink? No.
It comes through
on
the platform that I use to monitor the training. It comes through the heart rate. It's okay. But also I can see sometimes a lack of consistency, or maybe the session hasn't gone quite as well as it probably would have done, and that may be because we can't put the same effort in. So, there's it's this snowball effect all the time. So why would we do that? Why would if we want to improve in our health and our mind? Because one of the key things I didn't realise was how much anxiety I had. And when I stopped drinking even this one or two drinks, I was like, I didn't think I was an anxious person, but all of a sudden this anxiety had lifted. So, as well as these, we can see the heart rate, but, you can feel that the anxiety is going. You can feel that you want to go and perform better. You can feel that you want to get out of bed at 5 o'clock and go and run. It's just a win-win.
Yeah, and I think that snowball is something to just dig into a little bit more, in the sense that this is what I noticed in my own life, and I see it over the last decade in hundreds of thousands of lives, that actually you remove alcohol and all of a sudden you move a bit more consistently.
Yes.
You eat a bit better because there's less craving for stodge, which means you start to sleep better as well. So now you're sleeping better, you're eating better, you're moving more. Often, not always the case, but people start to lose a bit of weight. They certainly lose that inflammation from their skin.
Yes.
And their body, so they look better, the compliments start to come through. Then they're showing up more consistently in their relationships. Their temperament has just improved. Their anxiety levels have started to drop. They're better at their job. They're better parents. It's like, this thing is a bloody superpower. It's just a superpower, isn't it? On every there's nothing about it for me that's not a superpower. And I would be like you in that my one-to-one coaching, which I still do, not so much of, but I still have a prerequisite with that. If you want to come and work with me through that period of time, there's no alcohol. That has to be their choice. It's not mine. But that is my prerequisite. Yes. They still have to agree to that, because for the same reason, even though it's not in a physiological sense of running consistency, I know when people have been working with me and they've been drinking, they're inconsistent in the way they show up for my sessions. They're inconsistent in the actions that they take, that they promised they was going to take, versus the alcohol-free person. Yeah. They're on it. Yeah. It's a different, like you're dealing with like a different animal in the room. They're making things happen. They're like courageous. Their confidence is coming back. Yeah. It's just a different game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a magic pill. You've talked about this on your TED Talk about the limitless pill. Yeah, it's just, if you could sell that, I see so many people that say, I'm taking this supplement, I'm doing this, and I'm like, well, if you're still drinking, it's just a a losing battle, really. Like, you might make some marginal gains, but this thing here, this alcohol, is the thing that is stopping you, because you're just battling the whole time, because it's, when am I going to have that next drink? When does that happen? You know, if you moderate, because that's what it is, moderating, isn't it? It's, even if you've cut down, you're still moderating. And it's just, why would we do that? And that was how I got to that. Why would I do this to myself? It's just easier not to drink.
Yeah, and what's the value? And I think that's that evaluation. I think that's why a lot of people come to this in middle age, take a break from alcohol, because I think we tell ourselves those stories all through our teens and maybe early 20s that alcohol's good and it's fun. And I don't think any of us can deny, I certainly won't, that I had some bloody brilliant times. And some of them were massively under the influence of alcohol. And I'm not going to pretend that wasn't the case. But what was also a fact was, as I stepped into my mid-30s, those benefits that I thought I was experiencing were no longer there. But I was still telling the same story to myself that, oh no, this is fun. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until that moment of reflection to go, but is it? Is it still fun? I'm not going to deny it. At some point it was fun, but that was 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. Is it still fun now? Does it still help me relax now? And then when I started to ask those questions, I was like, actually, it's not. It's not any of those things that I thought it was anymore. So why the bloody hell am I doing it?
Well, I didn't realise that I enjoyed, like, sunrises.
Yeah, I didn't that's realise. That's the thing, apparently. Apparently it happens every day.
What? I didn't realise there were 2 5 a.m.s at 5 o'clocks in the clock. Honestly, I was just like, wow, this new life of being able to get up and feeling fresh and wonderful and joyous. And okay, I'm not bouncing out of bed every day wanting to run, but I certainly, within half an hour of having a coffee and doing some journaling and having my morning routine, I'm like ready to crack on. Whereas, you know, with even a couple of drinks the night before, that wouldn't happen. So.
And let's talk about that. So someone's listening.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, this is interesting, because there seems to be a common theme, and I think it's for all the reasons we mentioned, that people go alcohol free and then they start running.
Yes.
Or they start exercising in a way that they haven't exercised before. And that all comes back to the same point of consistency. I think people start to get more confident, more courageous. They've got time and some energy maybe they didn't have before to really start to put their alcohol-free superpowers to use in ways that it's just not time for it. I can't quite be bothered. You know, it's like we've all been there. So someone's listening to this and they're feeling the buzz, the joy. And by the way, whatever age you are listening to this, there's no age barrier to any of these things.
Absolutely not.
And you're a brilliant example of that. That's still in the middle of their life, but still someone that is stepping into their 50s now, running faster than you've ever run before.
Yeah.
Someone's listening to this though, and they're like at the start of that adventure, and they might be thinking, yeah, but it's easy for you, Claire, because you're obviously a brilliant runner. And it's like, you just rock up and bang out these super quick marathons. What would you say to that person?
Well, I wish it was, to start with, but it's not easy. I have always moved my body, but I only really started running probably about, I mean, it sounds a long time ago, but 25 years ago. But more seriously in the last 10 years, you know, when I realised actually when I can stop drinking, when I can look at my nutrition, when I can do all these things, that's when I started to improve. So no, it doesn't come naturally to me, but I work hard at it. But removing the alcohol allows me to do that. I do have more time. I do have more clarity. I have more determination. I have more commitment. And I think it comes down to that consistency. So I have a sort of a 3-layer approach, really, that the consistency is the foundation, absolutely foundation of most things, but certainly of running. So let's get the consistency for myself. Then it builds a confidence, because I'm confident about showing up. It's self-trust, self-love. You know I'm going to show up every day. And then that confidence builds a strong mindset. And when you go and run these, whatever it is, 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons, you have to have a stronger mindset, because you can do all this training, you can put all this work in, but if on race day or whatever it is that you're going to do, a park run, a marathon, it doesn't matter. If this isn't in the game, then we've kind of got a problem. So the consistency allows this confidence, and the confidence builds a strong mindset.
And this is what we keep saying, that alcohol's the excuse that gets people in the room for running, and running is the excuse for you that gets people in the room to think about more broadly their life, how they run their own mind, their consistency, their future plans, the aspirations that they have, the contributions they want to make. And all of these things funnel their way in, don't they, I think, to people living lives that are much more fulfilled, much more meaningful, much more purposeful, much more joyful. Because these things get them in the room, and you do this brilliantly. And hopefully, I do that as well in the sense to try and inspire people once they're ready to listen and learn. And that can be that filter of running, which I think is a wonderful way to magnetize people into our world. But the combination of those two things, which I think is a winning combo, is taking a break from alcohol, then looking into more exercise, because it's the mindset that changes as well as the body. And I think that's why, again, when you look at people on a longer alcohol-free journey, they are completely transformed. Physically, to look at, they look different. But there's a different energy about them in their mindset that just contains more courage and confidence, that we continually see people achieve all these incredible things.
It is.
And yourself is a wonderful example of that. From getting back into running to recently running Sydney Marathon, New York, Chicago. Any more you want to list off?
No, but it's true. And, all aspects of my life has changed in the last how many years. There's been a lot of changes around that, relationships, where I live. And, it's been tough. There's been a lot of tough personal circumstances to work through. But actually, all I know is that there's been a courage, I've got a lot of courage, a lot of bravery. And without removing the alcohol, I would not be where I am now. And this has given me this opportunity, not only in my running, but I'm more confident for sure. I'm about my life, about myself. I trust myself more. I definitely love myself more. Now, if we were doing this even 6 months ago, 12 months ago, would I have been able to say that? No, but I've done a heap of work around that. So the self-development part is so important, and I think people come to that when they give up alcohol, because you're starting to feel, who is this person? Who is Claire? And I think when we remove the fuzz of alcohol, which it definitely gives you, and it sort of puts a barrier on it, on whatever it is, and then you're like, right, okay, this is who I am, or who I can be. This is me. And it's exciting. And yes, it's maybe a bit of a rough road to start with, because you're feeling those feels. I've probably not experienced life without alcohol. I probably started drinking when I was 16, maybe a bit before, if I was being truthful, but I've never really experienced life without alcohol until I was 45. So, I'm now 7 years down the road, and it's like I've been reborn. It's just fact. And it wasn't, it was this grey area drinker. It's not the heavy drink. It's not the alcoholic. It's just the person that's probably doing this day after day, or going to the pub at the weekend. And by removing that, I'm now becoming the person that I think I needed to always be.
It's full power. Claire 2.0.
Yes, it is. And it's, the interesting thing, what you're saying there, just going back to when you were saying about exercising, but you'd go and sweat it out. Before I got into serious marathon running, I'm an ultra runner as well, so that's anything above a marathon distance. So I was doing like 40 miles or 50k, these big long distance events. And my thought was, well, I'm going out training for these long distance events. I'm training my body, I'm moving my body. I'm going out and running for like 10, 12 hours. That's all right. It means I can have a drink to celebrate afterwards, because the association was, I'm doing all this work, so I'm celebrating with a drink, and it can't be doing me much harm because I'm so fit and healthy. But actually, what it probably did was just, I didn't recover quick enough. I was probably putting my body through quite a lot of stress. And actually, again, going back to that realisation of even the 1 or 2 drinks, and I love this, that I did this, because I can talk to people about this. It wasn't like I was drinking and then I stopped. I literally went down to 1 to 2 drinks a week, max. And to see all these sort of negative things that come out of that 1 or 2 drinks is a really beautiful thing that I can talk to people about, because it's not about the problem. It's not about it. It's about how it impacts on you as a person.
Yeah.
And actually, I've learned it. I've lived it. I've seen how the heart rate spikes. I've seen how grumpy I
And
can
this
be.
is just with literally
we're
one or two drinks, as moderate as people would assume it is moderate.
Yeah, but the brain was really weird at that point. So my brain was going, well, is tonight the night I'm going to have my one drink, or am I going to leave it till tomorrow? Okay, I'll leave it till tomorrow. And so my brain was constantly going, well, you're allowed this one drink this week. When's that going to be? And I was like, this is ridiculous. All I'm actually thinking about is that one drink. And am I that bothered about it?
Yeah,
no.
What's the point?
What's the point? It was such a waste of energy. As soon as I removed it, I remember thinking I needed some help in terms of that self-development piece, which is why I wanted to do everything that you threw out at us, because I just lapped that up. It was just, I needed the tools to be able to navigate social occasions, how was I feeling, because I just didn't have those tools, I think. So, learning about journaling, I'd never journaled before, when all this self-development started, you were the kickstart of all of that. So, and now I'm sat on your sofa.
I know.
Doing a podcast.
7 years alcohol free. And I guess as someone that's been in this for so long, 12 odd years now, it is lovely for me. I get to see all the big numbers coming through from people that I've known for many years now, or that I've managed to maybe inspire or work with 10, 12 years ago, as well as 7 years. Constantly I'm getting this lovely notification. I got a beautiful note from a guy called Christian Fitkin, who's a massive hero, great mate of mine, just yesterday. He's 4 years alcohol free, and Christian was in let's just say he had a long way to go, and he's done so incredibly well. I'm so grateful for the space and people like yourself now then that are out there promoting this message as well, inspiring people not only through your running, through the woman that you've become, like authentically, powerfully you. And I think that authenticness, one, shines through, which is wonderful to be around that energy, but it takes so much courage to step into your authentic self. I think people are so scared of that, of being raw, of being real, telling themselves they need to be someone that they're not, using alcohol to turn into a fake version of themselves, to build a persona that alcohol creates. And then there's always this disconnect. Something's not right.
Yeah.
But to let that go is really hard. And I remember running up against that with me. It was that real sense of what's going to happen to fun time Andy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That comes out after 3 or 4 pints. And I'm this and I was like a larger than life character after alcohol. It really turned me into someone that was quite extrovert, but I'm not extrovert.
Yeah.
I am introvert. So there was a real big difference in my personality, and people, it felt to me, or I told myself stories, people only like me, they only love me because of the character that alcohol's creating, not the real person underneath that. So that's a threat to your whole identity. It's a threat to your love, essentially, which is such a motivational factor in our life. So I found that bit for me was so difficult.
Yeah.
But eventually, over time, stepping into the courage to go, actually, I don't need to be the guy that's holding fort. I don't need to be that person. I can just be me, show up, still have the banter and have fun, because that's always in my locker anyway, but not have to be that outgoing person in that, almost pretense, but just be authentically really me. And the moment that happened, my life started to change.
Yeah.
And I brought so many new people into my world because the energy that I was putting out was true to me. And then life's easy, isn't it? Because it's like, well, this is all I've got anyway. Yeah. So I don't have to pretend. Yeah. You either like it or you don't.
It's so true. And again, I'll go back to I've been doing a huge amount of self-development work, more so in the last 12 months as well. And one of the key things for me has been about speaking my truth, and mostly to myself, like challenging the BS, challenging the limiting beliefs, like who is this person? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And now I can finally, I started 7 years ago. Like when I stopped drinking, that process started.
Yeah.
But much more in the last couple of years with a heap of stuff that's gone on personally, but also just me investing in myself. And it's not a luxury. It's an absolute necessity to do this. And this is what I'm starting to realise this, that it's really hard, it's really hard to do that and have the space and time. And I think alcohol just sits over that and fuzzes it and blurs the lines. And I'm totally introvert, but people who knew me as drinking, like when I was drinking, would say I was extrovert for sure, but I'm much more introvert. And as long as, and I always come back to, as long as I'm trying to speak my truth, be authentic to myself, then that's all I can do. That's the real Claire.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful place to be.
That is, and it is. And I think that's a beautiful place for us to gently bring this conversation.
I show my medals,
yes,
though?
Oh yes, you've got to show your medals. So if you're listening to this, we will be describing the medals. Claire was like, I'm going to show the medals. I was like, I'm not sure it's going to work very well on a podcast, but we will describe them.
Okay.
If you're not watching this
so,
on YouTube. So what have you got?
So first of all, I have the New York City Marathon finisher medal.
Yes, which is a wonderful golden medal. It looks like an Olympic gold.
I wish, but it also, what really I only found out the other day was round the side it has the elevation.
Yeah.
And actually New York City Marathon is very, very hilly, so I'm delighted with my performance. So that's the one medal, but also I got invited by the Abbott World Marathon Majors as the, well, I always get the name because there's so many words, the World Championships for 2025.
That is incredible.
Yeah, so my time from Sydney last year, which I was also part of the World Champs from Chicago, so I've been in 3 World Championships in the last 3 years. So my time qualified me to go to New York City, and so I also get a, where's that there? I also get a special medal. So I get to, and then the lovely thing about this medal is that it has all the 5 boroughs of where we run through. So we start in Staten Island and run across to Manhattan, and we go through 5 boroughs, and it's got that on the, what would you call it? The lanyard? No.
The lanyard, the ribbon.
The ribbon.
A lovely blue ribbon.
So I have 2.
Good on you. And what is lovely as you hold those medals up is that it just wouldn't have been possible had you not taken a break from alcohol those years ago to be performing at this now elite level into your 50s, no doubt. Of course, you might still have been running, but I think the consistency and the recovery that's required to perform at that elite level as you step into your 50s just wouldn't have been possible.
It absolutely wouldn't. And I did a heap. Well, I journal every day, and I do reflections, and I've been documenting my journey. So this has been 17 weeks leading up to the marathon. And I've been doing a reflection video at the end of usually my long run on a Friday, just real, raw, straight, almost within 15 minutes I'd given myself a finishing, just a real raw reflection to show and really to demonstrate it's not easy for me, and that actually I work hard, the commitment and the consistency's there. But actually I did a few videos while I was in New York, and the key thing that came out of journaling and the videos was this 100% would not have happened if I hadn't have stopped drinking in 2019. And it's, you know, I'm emotional in a really positive way, because I have gifted myself this journey with your help. You know, you gave me the stepping stones and the tools to navigate that first 12 months. But, you know, I can sit here and say how proud I am of myself to allow this to happen, to have the courage and bravery to step outside society's norms and go, this isn't for me anymore. This is what I want to be, the best version of myself in this beautiful, wild, precious life that we have, because we're not coming here to do it again. And like, how gorgeous is that I can say that, you know? So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing with us today. That's been absolutely wonderful. I've enjoyed every second of this conversation. And I'm excited for your future and beyond.
Yes.
Running.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you for inviting me.
Good work, Claire. Hopefully you enjoyed that real conversation with real people. Make sure you subscribe. If you enjoyed the episode, please share it far and wide. And I'll see you on the next episode soon. And don't forget, this episode was brought to you by the Coach Business School, where I train the next wave of incredible life coaches, executive coaches, and alcohol-free performance coaches. Until next time, your coach, Andy.